Have you ever had one of those workouts where you feel like a superhero, only to wake up the next day and, you can barely get out of bed? Well, today we're going to dig into the science behind that awful muscle soreness, and we're going to explore a really fascinating idea, that the secret to a faster recovery might be, literally, right under our feet.
Oh yeah, we've all been there. You absolutely crushed it at the gym, you're feeling on top of the world, and then the next morning, bam! It feels like you've been run over by a truck. Every single step is a painful reminder of every squat and lunge you did. Well, that feeling has a name, and it's at the very heart of our explainer today.
It's called delayed-onset muscle soreness, or DOMS for short. And what's really happening is this. When you push your muscles harder than they're used to, you're actually creating tiny, microscopic tears in the muscle fibers. It's this temporary damage that leads to all that pain, stiffness, and inflammation you feel a day or two later.
Now, we've tried everything for DOMS, right? Stretching, foam rolling, those freezing cold ice baths, and the results are, well, kind of hit or miss. But what if the answer wasn't about what you do to your muscles, but what you connect your entire body to?
And this brings us to this really cool concept of grounding, sometimes called earthing. The whole idea is that our modern lifestyles have completely insulated us from the Earth's surface. Just think about it for a second. We wear rubber-soled shoes, we live and work in buildings high off the ground. We are almost never in direct physical contact with the planet itself.
So how is this supposed to work? Well, the theory behind it is actually surprisingly simple. Think of it like this. The Earth's surface has this huge supply of free electrons, which gives it a natural negative charge. Now, after a tough workout, our bodies produce these inflammatory, bad guys called free radicals. The idea behind grounding is that by making direct contact with the Earth, we can absorb some of its free electrons, the good guys, which then act like antioxidants to neutralize all that damage and inflammation.
And what's the simplest, most original way humans have always done this? Barefoot walk?
Okay, so this all sounds really interesting in theory, but does it actually work? Is there any hard science to back it up? Well, a group of scientists decided to put this whole idea to the test in a proper, controlled experiment to see if grounding could really make a difference in muscle damage after a workout.
So here's how they set it all up. They got 32 healthy, young guys and had every single one of them do 200 half-knee bends. Ouch! I mean, that's guaranteed to cause some serious muscle soreness, right? Then they split them into two groups. For 4 hours, one group was actually grounded, connected to the Earth using conductive patches. The other group, they were hooked up to the exact same equipment, but plot twist, it wasn't actually connected to anything. For the next 4 days, the scientists tracked everyone's pain and took blood samples to see what was really going on at a cellular level.
And this part is absolutely crucial. That second group, the sham-grounded one, was the control group. They thought they were being grounded. They went through all the same steps, used the same gear, but they had no idea they weren't actually connected. This is so important because it makes sure that any differences they found weren't just in their heads, a placebo effect. This is all about the cold, hard data.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really interesting. So what did the scientists find when they finally analyzed all those blood samples? Let me tell you, the results were pretty surprising. So first off, when they asked the guys, hey, how sore are you? There wasn't really a big difference between the groups. Everybody reported being pretty sore after doing 200 knee bends, which, let's be honest, makes a lot of sense. But the real story, the big story, wasn't about what they felt. It was about what was happening deep inside their bodies.
So to measure the actual muscle damage, the scientists looked for a specific marker in the blood called creatine kinase, or CK. Basically, when your muscle cells get damaged from exercise, the CK stuff leaks out into your bloodstream. So by measuring the CK levels, you get a direct, objective measurement of exactly how much muscle damage has really happened. And the difference here? Wow, it's just dramatic. Take a look at this first bar. 24 hours after the exercise, the sham-grounded group's CK levels went through the roof, a huge spike. That's the classic sign of muscle damage. But now, look at the second bar, the grounded group. Their levels barely moved. They stayed pretty much stable. That tells us there was way less actual muscle damage happening compared to the other guys.
The researchers themselves put it very clearly. They said that grounding, and I'm quoting here, significantly reduced the loss of CK from the injured muscles, indicating reduced muscle damage. In other words, it really looked like grounding was protecting the muscle cells from some of that damage caused by the intense exercise. And it wasn't just about the CK. The study found other really interesting changes too. The grounded group showed some different behavior in their immune cells and had way more platelets, which are super important for healing. This suggests that grounding wasn't just doing one little thing. It was having a much broader effect on the body's entire system.
So, we've looked at the science, we've gone through the experiments, we've seen the data. What's the big takeaway here? What does all this research actually mean for you and me?
The most crucial point is this. Even though grounding might not magically erase the feeling of being sore, the evidence strongly suggests it's helping your body on a much deeper cellular level. It seems to reduce the actual physical damage your muscles take, which could mean you recover faster and more efficiently in the long run. And this brings us to a much, much bigger question, doesn't it? In our modern world filled with rubber-soled sneakers and high-rise apartment buildings, could we be missing out on a simple, natural, and vital connection to our planet? It really makes you wonder what else we might have lost along the way.
The research is pretty compelling, and it points to a simple, powerful, and totally free resource that is literally right there under our feet. So it kind of begs the question, why not explore this connection for yourself?
Now, if this whole idea has sparked your curiosity, you are definitely not alone. There's a huge and growing community of people who are exploring grounding and sharing what they're learning along the way.
For anyone who wants to dive in deeper and connect with other people who are into this, you can join the BarefootWalking National Movement headquarters on Naver Cafe. It's an amazing place to get more information, share your own experiences, and just be part of the conversation. You can learn so much from each other there.
And that's our deep dive into the science of grounding and muscle recovery. Hey, if you found this explainer interesting or valuable, it would mean the world to us if you could help support the channel. Please go ahead and subscribe, give this explainer a like, and definitely turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching.